we need to talk about the fact that liberalism, mainstream liberalism.
Okay,
Let's get to that. That is what is really the problem here. Okay, about 10, 20 years ago, I say 20 years ago, I remember growing up and watching Fox News and Bill O'Reilly on Fox News. He was the crazy one. Conservatives, for the most part, were the crazies. Now, I would say, you can disagree with me, for the most part in mainstream new pop culture, it's the liberals who are the crazies. And conservatives seem somewhat rational, or somewhat I won't say rational, reasonable. And that switch I've seen in 20 years. I remember watching Bill O'Reilly, this guy's nuts. Bible bashing, this verse, that. Now, Christians don't need to come up with their verses. They don't even need to do that. They just say, a woman is a woman. Everyone's like, whoa, oh my God, this guy's a genius. They don't even have to quote a scripture. Muslims don't have to say any quoting scripture. All they got to say is, you won't get this in Islam. This trans, this, you won't get this. That's all they have to say. And that's all Andrew Tate is literally saying is, you don't get this in Islam. He's not quoting scripture. He's not quoting hadith, or even like scientific miracles. Oh, that's way gone. He doesn't even need to do that. All he's got to say is, you won't get this in Islam. That's because they've gone so far. The bar is so low on both sides.
Well, this actually answers Xi Jinping's question, because he was asking why. I think he means why conservatives like Andrew Tate get so popular in the West. I think that's what you're saying basically is trying to answer that. Go on.
Yeah, go on.
No, it's basically a short answer to that, according to Vidu, is because so many people think liberalism has gone cuckoo, which I disagree with, but I will let you guys finish and I'll tell you why I disagree with that. I think liberalism is stronger than ever. But Harris, you could go ahead.
Look, I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot about this, and I actually kind of agree with Vidu. So when the OGs, the real OGs like Dawkins and Harris and all these guys, when they just kind of blew up in everyone's faces back in 2005, 4, 6, it's like, oh, it makes sense. Like they would make Christian conservatives or Christians in general piss their pants. It just like Christopher Hitchens, where are you? Like it was like, oh, those arguments were so basic and simple. But here we have these 4 or 5 guys, and they're just destroying the opposition's arguments. So it was always inevitable. And then by Christopher Hitchens died in 2011 and 2015, 14. By 2014, 15, you can start seeing the switch, the shift. And I would say Jordan Peterson was right at the top of that. I don't give a F about Peterson's fanboys, and they say, oh, no, he's a bit more complicated than that. Somebody actually made a video on that. Somebody said that, oh, Peterson's only problem is a good dictionary. Like, whatever you throw at him, he said, what do you mean by belief? What do you mean by God? What do you mean by religion? It's like, oh, he just needs a good dictionary, basically. Like everything, he just confuses everything. And then from there onwards, we see this rise of conservatism, and like it was always inevitable that some people were going to come out and they're going to say, yes, oh, it's not a man's fault. A woman should bear responsibility if she gets raped, like if she goes to a club or whatever, like women are men's property, blah, blah, blah. And there's so many insults out there. We know that there are fractures in every society. We know that there are problems everywhere. But this was only a matter of time when this was going to blow up. And then we see this rise of conservatism in the West. People with abhorrent views, they're getting popularity because I think this is where we went wrong, because of wokeism. I think this woke culture, this woke attitude, that just destroyed everything because, and this is what Elon Musk, by the way, the guy is an atheist. Elon Musk is an atheist. So if you guys are, all of you conservatives, if you're looking at Elon Musk and you're looking for freedom of speech, you're looking at an atheist, by the way. And at the start, Armin Navabi said that, like atheists also, there are atheists who believe in some traditional values, and the atheists who are just way too far on the left, blah, 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 if you want to call it radical left, whatever you want. Elon Musk is obviously not one of them, and I think I'm not, and I think Vidu is not. I don't know about Armin. I think Armin is not either, but he'll explain himself. But so this is where we actually went wrong. I've said it numerous times that I don't care if someone identifies himself as a woman or whatever. I don't care. Don't force it on me. I would give you the respect that you deserve. You want me to call you with whatever name you want? Like if I say hey, Vidu, Armin, call me Harry or call me Harris, call me Harris, you would give me the courtesy and you would call me exactly how I asked you to call me, right? You would do that. And just the same way, I would extend that to your pronoun as well. You call me Zer, address me as Zer, the, girl, whatever that is. I would do that. And I have a very strong argument in that as well. I was like, because like people say that these conservatives, they just blow up, and I haven't heard a decent argument from anyone. It's like, oh no, how am I going to remember all these pronouns? There are like 468 of those pronouns. How many freaking transgenders do you know? I only know one from my old workplace. I haven't even seen her that often, but I'm sure that I'll see her. I haven't actually had a conversation with her recently. But if she said that I could call me this pronoun, that's it. How many transgenders do I know? I wouldn't know that many. I would not know 70 different trans women or trans men who would say.
Isn't that the point? That in reality, most people don't know that many
exactly
people, but it's on the news as if every other person is transitioning. And most people are like, why are we spending so much time on this issue?
No, Vidu.
This is a problem. Like literally, I think I've literally met one or two, maybe three.
But Vidu,
I think.
But do you agree with me that, like, if a trans woman or trans man tells you that, hey, call me or use this pronoun for me,
I would.
You do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even a fucking issue.
But
okay, first,
the amount of time the number on the news and the amount of time on most issues, the amount of legislation that's been passed, it's as if every other guy or girl is going to transition, and people are like, "Why are we?"
That's not a good argument, Peter. That's not a good argument.
Children.
That's not a good
I don't
argument.
understand the relevance of that.
That's not a good argument.
It's the reason why that people are flocking to him. So it is an argument you should listen to, because most people are saying, "Why we spend way too much?"
That's why I have an answer to it. That's because I thought about it, because I listened to it, right? All right. So this argument could have been also applied to handicapped people. Okay, handicapped people.
No, because handicapped people don't define gender or define any category.
Are you gonna let me finish my point? Okay, let me finish my point. Okay, no. You can't switch your points. We're only addressing one of your points. The point, like while I'm addressing your point, you can't change your argument mid-point. You're talking about the number of people, the fact that there are few of them. Okay, I'm not even talking about all handicapped people. I'm talking specifically about a minority of handicapped people who can't walk. All right, for these people, we decided, even though they are a very, very small part of a community, we have decided in some countries to make it illegal for you to not have ramps. We have restructured walkways, staircases, entire buildings mandated by law to make it make their lives easier. And not only we did not object to that, we were like, look at us. Look how far the society has come. Look how much shows how advanced we are. That for the few people who need help, we go out of our way. We don't change just our language. We change entire buildings. We change entire buildings for the sake of our few, because that's how liberal we are. Because liberalism is defined by the majority caring for the minority, right? Liberal democracy means democratic. What?
You think only liberals care about disabled? Like, there's no disabled conservatives.
Did I say only liberals?
So then why are you putting it under liberalism? That's not a liberal argument.
Because this is a defining feature of liberalism. We have liberal democracies means that democracies that is not just about majority rule. The fact that there are a lot of people, it doesn't mean that that's the only people you have to care about. You care about people that are the few, and trans people are the few. But we are more advanced countries because we care about the few.
Sure. There are multiple problems with the trans debate. One, it redefines categories which most people have thought was like obvious to like literally every mammal or even reptile on the planet. Now we're redefining that. For everything we've known for the last human history is now gone. Secondly, we're teaching it to children, and the way they're teaching it to, I think, is rather unnecessary. Right? These are the rules. It's not just because we're not just saying, you know what, we'll have a unisex toilet in a restaurant. I don't think anyone would care about that. Right? It's not facilitating their space like that. It's much bigger than that, and you know it is. And the fact is, people keep raising the trans issue and other issues like sex and all this kind of stuff. And we can talk about red pill right now if you want, like the genders and all this kind of stuff. These are the reasons why Tate and Hijab and Peterson, all this kind of people, are now popular or seem to have some credibility. Now you can disagree with why.
Do I agree with you?
What it is.
We redefine categories all the time.
We do that. Exactly. I was going to ask you.
Based on evidence, not based on ideology.
We redefine language.
Based on evidence. Based on evidence.
Ideology.
The ideology is you can be whatever you want.
The liberal scientific worldview is an ideology based on evidence.
Vidu, here's my question.
And we change language based on its utility.
Armin, you're being too woke. Armin, you're being too woke.
Being way too
woke. You're being way too woke. But I think
that's the card you play when you don't have a good argument against.
I'm about to give you an argument. I think I'm a real centrist.
Go on, Harry.
But
this is what conservatives do to the other side.
Not really. No.
This is what the woke do. They say like racist, you're racist, you're transphobe. This is what you guys do. Woke.
Conservatives say that women are responsible for it. Okay, so hang on a second. Vidu, but do you understand that why things can... Actually, I'm going to be Jordan Peterson now. It's complicated. You know, why is it complicated? Because you understand that we have this very tiny... this is what I initially said, that this is not even an issue. This is not a freaking issue. There's hunger. There is freaking mad dictators. You know, there's so many other things. And look at this. Vladimir Putin, every now and then, he gives this statement. He says that, oh, by the way, Andrew Tate, we know who's the real top G. That is not Andrew Tate. That is Putin. Because he said, oh, Putin, I don't want to offend you. You know, you can be the top Google person if you want. He actually got nervous about. So Andrew Tate, man, hats off to you. Because I know he's playing this game so well. And these freaking idiots don't even realize what's going to hit them. But anyway, so my point is, do you understand, Vidu, that why it has become complicated? No matter how small a minority might be of this transgender community, we have to somehow recognize them, give them respect, and recognize, you know, like whatever the discrimination that's gone on against them throughout these years. And now they're like, because liberal worldview tells you that, hey, I'm gonna look at you as an individual. I don't care who you are. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to give you the dignity. I'm going to give you the recognition that any other person gets it. What do you reckon? How do we address that problem then?
I don't have a problem with respecting trans people, with whether it's pronouns or whether it's toilet. Like if you want a unisex toilet or whatever it may be, like general decency, I have no problem with that. I don't care on a personal level if someone's a trans or not. It's a non-issue. It's a non-issue. Same with someone's gay. I don't care if you're gay or straight, whatever it is. The problem is when you redefine categories based on not on evidence, like, oh, we found a new thing in biology where actually there is no such thing. No, it's not that. It's just simply we want to be so inclusive that if you think you're a female, you are a female. And anyone who challenges... Sorry? I can't hear you.
We have evidence. We have evidence.
Yeah, you have evidence that if you're a man, you can be a woman.
Well, this is your misunderstanding of the difference.
Oh, here we go. Okay, go on.
Here we go. Here we go. An actual logical argument for what you're misunderstanding.
Listen. Honestly, you're gonna make the science publication now. Go on. Hear this.
Okay, what we have evidence for, okay, is the fact that if you accept the gender identity that the trans people are comfortable with, you are removing a huge burden from their mental health.
Okay,
that's what we have overwhelming evidence for. What?
If I dig up their bodies in 100 years' time, will I look at their skeleton or will I look at their gender identity? You can
when you look at the bodies of 100 years old, they're dead. I don't care about their mental health.
That's what I'm saying. Factually, they're not.
Factually, I'm not talking.
I know you identify as whatever.
I'm talking about their identity. I'm not talking. I understand a female. Okay, you don't understand the facts. I know a female will always remain female. You cannot change a female.
Okay,
a female will always be female.
Then we agree.
A male will always be a male. We're not talking about biological facts. We're talking about psychological facts. You are even misunderstanding what field of study we're talking about. That's your problem. You keep like, oh, biological facts. We're talking about mental identities. We're not talking about chromosomes and dicks and vaginas here.
Well, I was.
That's not the thing that we're claiming you can change. We're not claiming you can change your sect.
You guys are claiming that. I'm saying mainstream, bro. This is I can't believe.
Hang on.
I don't know where you guys have been. Maybe people are saying this.
Let me rephrase this issue and where this issue becomes really problematic. And I could be wrong. I say there are two biological sexes, and obviously intersex. I mean, that's biological as well. But I mean, in the mainstream, we have male with a dick and a female with a vagina, right? And now we go into like, okay, so there's psychological issues as well. So that argument by the conservatives, like, oh, because she identifies as a female, therefore she can't be a female, and then they trivialize it by saying, well, oh, okay, I identify myself as a tree, therefore I'm a tree. That's not what they're saying. This is not the whole argument. So you go, okay, so here's a person who says, again, as I say, like if I start identifying myself like, oh, like for example, Vidu, I say that I am not a Pakistani, I'm not an Indian, I am a global citizen. But then, who comes out to me and they says Pakistanis, Indians, they say that, oh, no, you're not fucking Pakistani, you're a brown man. Yeah, you would always be a brown man. I was like, no, hang on a second. My values define who I am. I am a global citizen. Luckily, I know that this is a privilege that I have a passport that I can travel around the world. And if I could, I could go to these Muslim countries as well, and I could relate with them as well. But no, they are actually evolutionary or culturally, on an evolutionary scale, they're actually left behind. Therefore, like, I'll get I'll get my head cut off. But I identify myself as a global citizen. Now, people say, what the hell is that? What is a global citizenship? So people should be able to identify themselves as they are. Now, this is not really. So this is where it gets complicated. Like Jordan Peterson, whenever it gets complicated to defend his faith, he makes it complicated. But when the issues he doesn't really care about, he's like very firm on that. He's very firm. No, this is a male, this is a female, this is how we're gonna do it. Right? No, get out of here. We have to include every freaking one in our society. Now, no matter how small the percentage of trans people might be, and if a trans person says that, you know what, I feel like a woman and I'm trapped in a male body, as Armin said, this is a psychological issue. So what is in it for you, me, or anyone else, or for the society to say, okay, you feel like a woman, fine, you want to dress up like a woman, fine, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
You want to be called a woman. You want to be called a woman.
I would call her a woman. I would. And this is it. So
can they play
I don't see where there's a problem.
Can they play in female sports? Or is that...
No, they can't.
Oh, okay. So you've now left the psychological realm then. So you've now
because it's a physical. No, because sports is physical.
But that's what's happening, no?
No. Okay. No, this is what
well, I'm not agreeing with all the solutions. Here's the problem.
This is what's happening.
I know, but here's the thing, Vidu. Okay,
we have the psychological realm, and you've gone into legal, you've gone into sports, you've gone into so many other domains. So if it's just feelings, I don't care. You can feel what you want, and I'll accept it. If you say I feel like this, I'm fine.
Okay.
I want to play in female sports.
Aside from female sports, which I understand that there's a lot of ridiculous solutions suggested. I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah, that's radical trans movement.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
Would you be comfortable with accepting trans women as women?
On a personal level, yes.
Would you agree with just defining that trans woman as woman? Like, would include the definition of woman? Yeah. Including them in the definition of a woman.
Not in a biological way, no.
Woman is not a biological term. We're talking about identity. If we wanted to refer to the biology, we would say female.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's not biological, fine.
Okay, that's all. Okay, so this is most of the arguments. What you are referring to is the fringe woke that we have among liberals. Okay, and we have an issue with them as well. We have an issue with the woke people as well within us liberals. Okay, but this is not liberals. Of course, within whatever movement, you're going to have some extreme groups within it. And if you consume conservative media, guess what? Those are the people that are going to get most of the highlights. But that's not most of liberals. That's not most of the liberals.
No, I never said most liberals believe this. I said, like, you always, the mainstream, or rather any new movement is usually always pushed by the more extreme people, right? Most Muslims don't believe in crazy stuff, but the very few, like Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawah, they're the ones. They're the more outspoken ones, they're going to say the more outspoken things, right? Most Muslims won't even know about half the stuff that they talk about. But I'm saying that the general trend, if you look from where we were 20 years ago to where we are now, the general trend is to I won't say destroy is too hard a word, but it is to eradicate any kind of boundaries between the genders. And this is what the crux is. In Islam and Christianity, there are
sexes or genders.
Sorry?
Sexes or
Sorry,
genders?
you know what I mean. Sorry, the biological thing, right?
Okay.
Is to say there is no difference, right? So
sex is biological, gender is social.
Sorry, sexes. So if you look for example, let's come out of the gender. Let's come out of the transgender thing for 1 second. The gender page, the gender pay gap, 70% to 100%, or $70 or whatever it is, pence to $100. We know the reasons behind that. Why don't they earn this much? Why don't the blacks earn this much as the whites? Why don't the browns earn this much as the yellows? The whole liberal thing is to help the minority, is to equalize along gender, along earning, along everything.
No.
Yeah,
you're misrepresenting liberalism.
Where have you been? Honestly, everything. And I used to believe in this.
We're not. We're liberals. We're not commies.
If there's a gap between men and women, there is some sort of discrimination. If there's a gap between blacks and whites, there's some sort of discrimination.
This is a caricature. This is a conservative caricature of liberals.
No, it's not.
You've been consuming too much.
If you go to any of these female conferences, feminist conferences, or why is or even on the news, there's still a gender pay gap. There is still this. Why aren't there enough black people in this subject? Why aren't there enough
liberalism? Okay. Let me tell you, liberalism
I
is
understand
about equal
minority. The voice, the person who is just the smallest guy at society, you want to make sure that he's protected. I understand that.
And liberalism is also about
overreached. They have overreached, and saying
we will always have
if this little guy isn't represented in the same numbers that everyone else is, there must be some sort of discrimination. And sometimes there might be, but not necessarily.
I agree. Okay, I agree with you. That's nonsense. Okay, but you have to understand that the things that we agree on makes you Vidu a liberal right now. Okay, and liberalism is a he is a liberal.
Not this kind of liberal. No, I'm not this kind of liberal.
Okay, well, what you're saying is actually
I'm a libertarian. Libertarian.
That
has the word
that's part of liberalism.
And I'm in.
All right, let me just tell you this, and then I'll move on. Okay, liberalism is about equalizing opportunity, not equalizing the outcome. Okay, if there is a no, that's
practically speaking, it's not. In the mainstream politics, it's not. They have quotas. They have all these subsidies.
Again,
I'm going by what they do, not by what you say.
I think here's the thing. When you follow conservative,
just look at the policies.
Where do you get your news from? You've been following conservatives because they get the.
I follow everyone.
But you haven't been following actual liberals then.
So then have you been following, I don't know, the last 20, 30 years of policy by governments? Have you noticed what
there have been so many crappy ones and so many good ones?
Yeah.
But I think you've been only noticing the crappy ones. Again, I'm not saying liberals don't have the woke among them, the crazy fringe among them. But it's easy to highlight them and just look at the whole movement as if it's going down the drain. Here's the thing. Liberalism actually as a trend is more popular than ever. It's actually winning the game globally. So it's not weaker than before, it's stronger than before, especially thanks to Putin. To have your questions answered on the next live stream, become my patron today. You can do so with as little as $1 a month. Link in the description below.